Welcome back, everybody, to the Rusty Pipes Week 3 Power Rankings. Today, I'm going to try and make this a little shorter, but no promises. I've got everything typed up here, so I won't be rambling on too much. So let's get right into this. Coming in at number 1 in the rankings, we have Baby Back Gibbs, owned by Smiley. Coming off another dominating win over Shazimler's List, scoring a league-high 159 points. Baby Back Gibbs is at the top of the Week 3 Power Rankings with a record of 2-0. Backed by stellar performances from Keenan Allen and CMC, who look to retain his top spot next week against Not So Dangerous. Should be a fairly easy matchup. Next up, we have El Cabo at number 2 in the rankings. Our number 2 team in the power rankings this week is sitting at 2-0. After a great outing against his father this week, Cobb extended his win streak against him, and this rivalry is looking more like the Denver KC matchups the past 7 years, as UD is struggling to find a win against his son. Cobb will look to try and remain near the top of these power rankings next week against matchup against Sears Cuck. Parlay Melee is coming in at 3 in the Week 3 power rankings, making a big jump from 7th to 3rd after a good dominating win over Drone Tree Trimmer, leaving them as the final 2-0 team left on this list. Josh Allen had his bounce-back game against Las Vegas, and Reed was also greeted with another great game from Bijan in the return of Mark Andrews into that Ravens offense, scoring him a good 15 points in that tight end spot. He'll be taking on Live Laugh Facebook in Week 3 and trying to retain that undefeated record. Coming in at number 4, we have that this DJ be ETN, owned by Matt Schultz. While being 1-1, he is the second highest scoring team in this league. He lost a close one to Suck My Wake by less than 1 point. He'll look to bounce back this week against Drone Tree Trimmer. You know, he just had that. We'll get into Suck My Wake right this next one, but we'll go right into 5th in the power rankings is Suck My Wake. Even though he beat Schultz, he's a little more inconsistent, you know, kind of same with the Viking duo he has on his team at the Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson. You know, he had a lowly week 1, but he came out firing guns blazing on that Thursday Night Football matchup with 37 and 25 from Kirk and Jefferson. And he just kept on going after that and came out with that squeaked out win, even with Zay Jones, who was in his flex, getting him 0 points, you know, was getting that donut. But came out with that win, close one, and it'll look to keep starting a win streak against Juicy Bear in this next week. Coming in at 6 is Mixon Aaron's Ayahuasca, owned by Josh, who has the second longest name in the league, and I hate trying to pronounce it every week because I'm pretty sure I am mispronouncing whatever drug Rodgers likes to use to heal his Achilles injury. But he had a tough loss this past week to Live Laugh Facebook, but he stays near the top half of the power rankings. He just had a tough week from A.J. Brown, Tyreek Hill, and Alexander Madison, both scoring below that projection. You know, he's just hoping that A.J. Brown can have that bounce back week with Hurts possibly getting the ball after their tantrum on the sidelines during that Thursday night win. And you know, seventh overall price tag, steep price tag for him, and he's just hoping he can get back to at least the double-digit point scoring to make up for that, fulfill that price tag for him. But coming in right behind him, or actually Josh, he's going to be going up against Shazimler's List, so he's going to have an easy win this next upcoming week, but we'll get more into that in the predictions video. Coming in at 7th, we have Live Laugh Facebook. The young manager gets back in the win column for the first time this year, past week against the aforementioned Josh, but it wasn't enough to jump ahead of him in the rankings, as there was more inconsistency throughout his lineup than Josh had. He just had those big games from his, Stephon Diggs and Devontae Adams, but he still is near that top. He is in the playoff hunt, as you can see. I mean, we have 18 playoffs, so he is in that 7th seed at the moment as well in these power rankings. So he won't be able to rely on the Pittsburgh defense, though, that scored him 23 points to help him secure that win on Monday Night Football. So he's going to need those players, like his running backs, like Josh Jacobs, to step up and start getting those points that he needs, because defense won't score double digits every week for him. So he'll be going up against a tough matchup in Parlay Melee next week, but we'll see if he can continue his young career dominating streak that he's shown in this league. Coming in at number 8 in the power rankings, we have Not So Dangerous. Second youngest manager, also got his first win against Sierra's Cuck, living up to his name of not so dangerous. But with big games from all three of his wide receivers, Michael Lewis continues winning ways, but comes against a tough matchup in baby back Gibbs. He had big games from George Pickens, Puka Nacua, possibly the best free agent pickup this year so far. Who knows what he'll do when Cooper Kupp comes back, but he showed stellar performance against that tough San Fran defense. And coming in at number 9, the aforementioned Sierra's Cuck, owned by Russell Amadon. Now, tough weekend for Russ, as he had to watch both his fantasy team and real life team lose in heartbreaking fashion. He also had to watch his NFL lookalike Russell Wilson blow a 21-3 lead right after that Packers game. But after a rough week in which he only saw one player, and that was Tony Pollard, go above their projections, Russell looks for a bounce-back win against El Cabo. Now, to start off the bottom dwellers, we have Juicy Bear, 10th in the power rankings, the first of 3 0-2 teams in this league. Now, UD is the best of these 0-2 teams, just like the Bengals, as they could get a little more production from their star players and possibly be 2-0 had they had T. Higgins not get a donut for him in week 1, or has have that inconsistency in his players last week against his son. But, it was just bad coaching decisions after benching Kyron Williams, who he's paid a hefty $41 fab on, kept him on his bench, and he put up 28. That was the deciding factor. I think he only lost by 13 to Cobb. So, it's just those, for how, veteran manager of this league, he should be more like Belichick. He knows how to scheme properly. He knows who to play and who to keep on the bench, but he might just be the Nathaniel Hackett of this league, at least for this week. That rough decision. But I'm sure Kyron Williams will be entering into that lineup this week as he takes on Suck My Wake to get back into that winning column for the first time this year. Next up in the 11th, we have Drone Tree Trimmer in the 11th place in the power rankings. Drone Tree Trimmer, owned by Jason Moore, not to be confused with fantasy footballer Jason Moore from the podcast that I listen to. But even after a big week 1, he continued to keep Jordan Love on the bench and hopefully fixes that mistake, as Justin Fields not showing that same production he had at the end of last year. The Bears offense all around is struggling, and the Packers is churning out. Even with the loss against the Falcons, they're just putting up points, at least Jordan Love, and I think he'll be sliding into that lineup against the matchup against Schultz, as he'll need any help he can get against DJB ETN. But finally, at the bottom of the rankings, we have Shazembler's List, owned by Mr. Clean. Very rough start to the year for the commissioner, as he's the only team not to be having a total point score of 200 or more after 2 weeks, as he is sitting at a lowly 151. Even after a bounce-back game from Lamar, he was blown out by baby back Gibbs. And we'll see if he can scrape together this lackluster start and enter the win column against Josh in week 3. But that's to be seen. He's still got Derrick Henry, still got Mike Williams. So he's got good players. It's just, can he have them all score enough on the same week to get into that win column? At this point, he might be the Broncos and coming in and just staring at that first overall pick for next year. But that was the Week 3 Rusty Pipes Power Rankings, and I'll see you later this week with the Week 3 predictions.